Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. How is everyone tonight? I hope you're doing well. See my thumbnail? What a hag. I got a hag on my thumbnail. I thought to myself, be nice. And I said to myself, what for? In my title, we got Penny in Peril. Yeah, they dismissed the charges against him, but they're pulling a stunt. What is it with these New York judges and New York prosecutors, boy? You can do, I'm going to call them eeny, meeny, miny, mo charges or courtrooms. You can go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Oh, he's guilty of this one. Oh, no, that doesn't work. Okay, start again. Eeny, meeny, miny. So, anyway, Daniel Perry is hanging in limbo till the jury comes in. Monday, we'll talk about that. Also, what's going on with the CEO of United Healthcare, his assailant. I can't say what he really is. He's a no good red rummer, a cold-blooded red rummer. But they say he's left New York. And I want to talk a lot about that. I got a lot of thoughts on that. Because you know what? The truth is stranger than fiction. As you've probably seen that in your own life. You say, wow, people wouldn't believe this if I told them. I have to do something to document it. It's so crazy. But that's the way life goes sometimes. And more often than not, life is a crazy ride. So on top of that, we've got all these liberals coming out with comments about this man who lost his life. I don't know a lot about him. Just because he's the CEO of a healthcare company does not denote his temperament or his morals, his past actions. I know that the Daily Beast came out claiming he had a criminal history. And the Daily Beast, they had something to do with Coach Red Pill, an American citizen. Don't forget, over in Ukraine, I did a story about that over a year ago, several stories. They're liberal to the core. They're rotten and evil. So if they're saying something bad about the guy, I'm starting to raise my eyebrows up. Maybe this was an ideologue trying to make himself a hero, a la Michael Crooks or any number of screwballs that go out and do things, heinous acts, and pretend they're justified. And I feel bad because I can't think of his name, but who was the young man in Portland, who was gunned down by that lunatic that ran up to Oregon in the woods and did a video on how wonderful he was. And they got him the next day. And by got him, you know what I mean. So there's some examples right there of ideologues with this woke mind virus, this lunacy, this hedonism, this complete loss of moral compass, and the deadly effects, dangerous effects. So anyway, let me. Hi, Joan. How you doing? Wayne. Said give me a thumbs up. Sissy's here. Todd and Flannel Cheese. Finding Dory. How are you, sweetheart? David. KNS Cleanup. Joy. Ronald. Hebrew Hammers here. How you doing? Yeah, I heard you were talking about that special 9mm he had. I don't know about that. We'll get to talk about that. He might have had just a junky zip gun for all anybody knows. It's so blurry, hard to see. Hi, Doc. How you doing? Miss Bendersue. Nice to see you. So we got everybody rolling in. Lone Wolf's here. Raven's Wings. Angels here. Oh, it's good. Nice to see you, Araceli. And Tammy, let me see. Okay, all right. So I don't know which story you want to start talking about, but Pete Hegseth, You know, they're trying to keep him on the ropes. They never got him on the ropes in the first place, but they think they do. So this Joni Ernst is being outed for her desire to. She covets a position within the Trump White House. Good luck. They're putting out videos of her talking about what a wonderful person George Floyd was and how we all have to take time to reflect on how his precious life was ended so soon. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. So, she's not going anywhere. And she said she was going to have a meeting with him another meeting with Pete Hegseth next week. And Trump put out a pretty, in my book, unequivocal support of Pete Hegseth. He said he's a winner and nothing's going to change that. I can read between the lines there. Now, don't get upset at Lindsey Graham. A lot of people saying, primary Lindsey Graham. Now, I can see primary Klobuchar, Collins, and this Joni Ernst, all these other weirdos. But remember what Trump said about Lindsey Graham. He's there when you need him, and I will in the future play during the Kavanaugh hearings the point that he brought up with Kavanaugh about there being parallel systems of justice, okay? Civilian and military, all right? And Kavanaugh said yes. The Hamdi decision, I think it's called. And unlawful combatants, they fall outside of the civilian system. So anyway, Lindsey Graham, he puts the little comments out there like he's trying to look at both sides, and he's never tried to undermine any pick, but he puts the carrot out there that he might be convinced either way. And I'm telling you, that's a tactic to get on the news. It's a tactic to have your side heard on MSNBC and CNN, and all these characters will put his face on there. And in the middle of an interview, he comes up and says, well, I'm not going to make a decision made on anonymous sources by people who won't even show their face. He makes a very strong point on a liberal program. That may be part of why Lindsey Graham does this back and forth and side to side sometimes. Didn't you watch Brother, Where Art Thou? The governor at the very end doing a little dance. Oh, I do a little sidestep. Remember that? So that's the way you got to look at it, folks. I might get a clip of him doing that little dance. I remember one guy, an old friend of mine, he went to a board meeting and thought he had somebody backing him up on an issue, and he got up and started talking publicly, and he looked around for support, and the guy was gone. And I said, I'll call him Jim. I said, hey, Jim, what happened at that board meeting? He said, oh, they turned me down. I said, what about so-and-so? He didn't step up for you? He said, oh, no, he did a double backflip out the side door. That's the first time I ever heard that saying. He did a double backflip out the side door. He did a double backflip on the side door on me. I didn't know where he went. I said, oh, my word. So you got, politicians, they play games. It's mind games. Okay, that's why we call it psychological warfare operations. So anyway, that's all politics is. Yeah, well, people are getting tired of him, but he's playing a game, and he's there when you need him. Hi, Ann. Nice to see you. Marie, how you doing? So, anyway, so I think Hegseth's going to be all right. He was doing some emotional stuff with the divorce, and also at a time when he's sown his oats, and he's also been in some traumatic situations in combat. So, but his core is strong, and his values and his principles are strong. That's the main thing. Excuse me while I was sipping my coffee. All right, boy, that's good. And I want to thank Mike and Ben for going by buy me a coffee. They'll drop me some coffees in there to keep my spirits up, so I know I'm on the big screen. Let's see. Hi, David. How you doing? He was supposed to testify in front of the Senate. Well, there's something going on there because he had voted to do something. It was something about where they would have cornered the market, kind of like an antitrust thing. A lot of people saying, "Oh, and he was against that." It was something where a lot people would have made a lot of money if he would have been for it, but he was against it. And you never know what the dynamics are if you don't know the person, don't know the history. It's what people are putting on X and what they're saying about him. Oh, some of them are celebrating what happened to him. They don't know that man. And he may be an unsavory person. I don't know. But he didn't deserve what he got. Nobody does. Nobody does. So a lot of these liberals, stars, or whatever they call themselves, personalities, and even just Joe Schmoes and Jane Schmoes or unbinary Schmoes are hey, I tell you, if I was an employer and I saw somebody celebrating somebody getting losing their life like that, they wouldn't work for me anymore. And that's the way it should go with the school system and everything else. And speaking of that, I said, wow, I heard a story where Ben Stiller, you all know Ben Stiller, and I'm weaving into this because it all ties together, and it really does. I've talked about how Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sonny Houston, and all these crowds are what was his name? De Niro. On specific contracts, they got kicked out of because of the big mouths, okay, and their spiteful invective. They're losing tens of millions of dollars. Well, Ben Stiller's another one. Okay, he had a deal with HBO for I think it was an hour and a half comedy thing. They were going to chop up into segments and play it in between other shows. Some kind of comedy bit that he was doing. He was supposed to, the numbers always seems to be around 10 million. You know how things work in life. How much is so-and-so getting for his comedy special? How much you paying him? 10 million. Well, I want the same thing. Well, you're not as funny as he is. Well, I'm not going to do it if you don't pay me the same amount. Okay, we'll give you 10 million. So it seems to be 7 to 10 million right in that range. These comedians get so-called. And anyway, he's out the door. He's out the door with HBO. He's not getting that contract. And I said, oh, good. I won't tell everybody to lump it on top of all the other dung heaps that have been getting kicked out of air quotes Hollywood. Well, who's the next one? Another one lost contracts with Warner Brothers, and A-list project. They say A-list, B-list, D-list. Namely, do this little production, and we're going to do a CD release or a DVD release. No theaters or nothing. We're might even put it on VHS tape. That's when you get down D-list, like Steven Seagal, Born to be Action-fied, or whatever kind of shows he makes, and he's hardly in them, and all you see is bombs going off and cars crashing and stuff like that. But anyway, he's not a D-list. He wanted to get jump started back into the A-list category, and he lost the deal. Have you all heard who I'm talking about, or what the deal is that is no longer in operation? A movie series. all because of his big mouth. Where's my spectacles? There. I'm trying to read the chats. I can't see him. Let me see him. Yeah, Tammy said hit like, subscribe and share. Ha ha. So let's see if anybody knows who. Well, Joy, I'm glad you're doing good. A lot of it's gone. That's good to hear, Joy. That's good to hear. I've had to deal with cancer a couple of times in my family. Stem cell transplants, radiation treatments, it's scary business. And it's not the death sentence it used to be when you were diagnosed with it. And this has been years ago, so they've probably come a lot farther. Hi, Roland, how you doing? So anyway, I don't see any guesses on who this person wants to jumpstart his A-list career back up with a what do they call them? They don't call them a series. I guess they do. Like you had the Rocky series, you had the James Bond series, stuff like that. Well, he was going to do one of his movies he's done in the past, get a big bunch of other wannabe actors, and Warner Brothers turned him down because of his involvement in the election and running his yap. Now he says he's sorry. And I'll tell you what it is, George Clooney. Good guess, though, Roland, about Vin Diesel. I don't know. I haven't heard too much. I think he's smart enough to keep his yap shut when all this stuff blows over. And Vin Diesel wasn't much anyway, but some of his movies were enjoyable. But no, he was going to do Ocean's 14. Multi-million dollar deal. And that, again, was $10 million to start, and then you get your, what do they call it, residuals and all that kind of stuff afterwards. So he lost a lot more than $10 million. And, what did Steve Bannon say? Suck a pickle. Okay, go suck a pickle. You don't like it? Too bad. And Steve Bannon, speaking of him, see how we weave. He's pointing out that, there's going to be so many prosecutions, so many different causes of action. I was going to put that picture up of Joe at the Christmas tree lighting. They said they compared him to the keeper of the crypt keeper. And I got a picture, and I was going to put a thumbnail up that said, 81 million pardons? How am I going to do that? I mean, what do they want to do? And I'd get a copyright strike. But what's that song that guy wrote? What About Me? Remember that song from the 80s, was it? I can't remember the words to it, but it's What About Me? How many people are going to be coming to Joe Biden? What about me? What about my pardon? Because Jean Pierre, whatever her face is, there's some more to come, she said. So, the big shots they're going to try to take care of. Now, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not an expert on all this stuff, but I was sitting there thinking, if there's two parallel systems, military and civilian, you get people like Obama wanting a pardon, people like Nancy Pelosi. What if they're charged militarily? Is that outside the pardons? I can't. It's not written in stone. I can't say for sure either way. A lot of people will say one or the other is written in stone, but believe me, things are very fluid. That's right, Roland. Hi, Mark. How you doing? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We're going to have to see about that election. Uh, uh, selection, I guess. But anyway, let's meander back to this uh, Perry situation. Daniel Perry. In my thumbnail, there's a people were putting up pictures of the jury, sketches of the jury, and they circled. Looks like an older lady with gray hair sitting next to a guy with a mask. Who in the hell's wearing a mask this day and age? I'll tell you who. Somebody who hadn't got their head on right. That's who. A liberal. All right. And somebody who would fall for the prosecutor kept repeating. And then the white man grabbed the black man and started choking. And the white man increased the pressure. Just a pure racist approach to the whole situation. And they said the jury was hung. And I said to myself, I bet you there's a couple of, and that's before I saw the sketch of the clown with the mask on sitting next to uh, a woman that looks like a gray-haired version of the one sued Trump. I can't remember her name, or Elizabeth Warren. Either one, They interchangeable freaks. So I said, I bet you there's a couple of liberals on there holding things up. Most of the jury wants to let him go. And it turns out I was right. So they're playing games. They should be dismissing the whole thing, but they've dismissed one charge and allowed the jury to, instead of acquitting him on that charge, they just dismissed it. And even the judge said, I don't know that this complies with state law. I don't know what kind of games that judge is playing. We'll see. But you've got a couple of liberals on there, and I don't think they're going to convict him on the second one. I think they're going to hang on the second one too. That's right, Miss Mindersu, interchangeable freaks. You just pull one out, plug one in, nobody notices. Yeah, he did what a good Samaritan would do. And usually, E. Jean Carroll, that's right, Roland. Good Samaritans are hands off. I mean, that's been a tradition and a legal defense many, many times. Todd, yeah, if they audit 202, I don't know how much, how far back they can go and do an audit. There is something in the cards. And speaking of cards, I figured out the Trump card. Everybody was saying, when is Trump going to play the Trump card? And we speculate, could it be this? Could it be that? Could it be Epstein files? Could it be all the gold in the Vatican? Or what could his Trump card be? You know what his Trump card is? Need Brunson case, Roland said. That's right, Wanda. Color of law. That's what all this stuff boils down to. Color of law. Every one of these events we're watching, these heinous lawfare games, I believe fall under the category of deprivation of rights under the color of law. Under the color of law. And that goes for election officials that turn their heads and watch the theft go by, and the persecution of Trump, and the persecution of Daniel Penny, and the persecution of the J6 people on down the line, Michael Flynn, Peter Navarro, deprivation of rights under the color of law. So what's the Trump card? Spill it. If it says it specifically in the Constitution, it can't be pardoned. Then it can't be pardoned. But if it doesn't mention it, he can pardon any offense. As a matter of fact, George Washington he could have intercepted or at least sent people out to go get Benedict Arnold. But Benedict Arnold, who was very famously the first traitor, escaped. And, that was kind of a pardon, let him go. But he ain't coming back. That might be what happens to Barack Hussein Obama. But Kenya don't want him. I don't know where he could go. Theodosius said the Insurrection Act. Oh, all right, Angelo. Well, you're in time. We're just getting into it. Hi, Pappy, he said, displaying. Yeah, all those things couldn't be done. Anything could not be done without the trump card. He couldn't have transparency. He couldn't go for prosecutions. He couldn't declass JFK. I saw that in the comments. He couldn't do anything without the trump card. And the trump card is us. We're the trump card. When it's unequivocal that he has the will of the people to pursue lawful objectives, nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop it. Do you all think I'm right? And that's why I was saying for 2 years, we had a long slog and we had to walk through the darkness, all that stuff. Hi, Kathy. Why is Trump saying goodbye to his plane? I hadn't seen that because he'll be getting on Air Force One. Air Force One and Trump Force One will probably be dedicated to as a national treasure. The Air and Space Museum or something like that. That's right, Roland. We the people, we are the trump card. That we're the foundation of this republic. A government of, for, and by the people. The first time in human history this kind of government has been in existence, with the exception of the Israelites before the book of Kings, when we lived. The Israelites lived by the prophets. They had no government. Raven said, "Oh, Bummer already fled." No, Pig Losey ain't the trump card. She's just a piece on the chessboard, and not a very big one. Not now. So now that we have played the trump card with they've tried to minimize it, but it's going to go down in history as a landslide, a sweeping mandate. All 7 swing states, House, the Senate, the presidency, in a rebound, unprecedented historic victory. It's just the way it is. Even though they played their games in California by snitching a couple of House seats, and I believe they snitched a Senate seat or 2, but hey, those that could all be taken care of. And I wouldn't be surprised if that would be, once Trump gets in office, one of the first areas where we see people, and I'm not saying top of the line people, but we're going to start seeing arrests. And just like when we're sitting there thinking the creepos and P3DOs in Hollywood are going to get it, we're thinking it's going to be like an event for the day. This is Eyewitness News, and the next star they're picking up is so-and-so. No, we're seeing it in real time. I just named a whole bunch of people. I won't name them all again, that are losing big contracts. They're losing their influence and their money, and it's going to get down to their freedom. You got somebody like P. Diddy in jail that was rubbing elbows with all those people. The Epsteinio client list, same thing. Harvey Weinstein, if he ever wants to go out and get a little sun on his face. I mean, they've had people negotiate deals after they've been convicted to give evidence and to rat people out. No, they're not going to get out of prison. But one guy wanted an hour a day, 5 days a week with an Xbox. An Xbox. And he ratted somebody out, but he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. But he can play 1 hour a day on an Xbox. So, there's many ways to get birds to sing, even after you get them in a cage. So it's really going to be interesting. And we still have a potential drama with, is Biden going to make it? I mean, he's got 6 weeks. Is he going to make it? Is he a bird in a cage that is cooperating for the equivalent of an hour with an Xbox? Is he even still with us? Same thing with Hunter. Hunter's playing along. That's why we got all this information we got. Irrefutable. Look how many people got exposed as just flat out liars because of the laptop signing that letter saying it was Russian disinformation, a bold-faced lie. How many of them got put on the chopping block? The whole top tier of the intelligence agencies. So this business is going to snowball as far as people losing contracts in Hollywood and everybody running for cover in Washington, D.C. You've always heard, be careful saving somebody who's drowning, right? Because what happens when you go to save somebody that's drowning? Happens a lot. They pull you down too. And you got to know what you're doing if you're going to go out and help a drowning person. You got to have knowledge, and you have to be physically able to position them to where they can't cause you to go down too. But we're dealing with a lot of people who are drowning politically, drowning financially, drowning career-wise, drowning as far as their freedom goes. Ain't nobody sleeping good. You could see it in their faces. I uploaded a video of Obama talking about, they're going to weaponize you. We have one side that is going to tip the scale to their way one day, and they're going to fix elections. They're going to attack their opponents. It's humorous. He's saying exactly everything they've done to us. But he looks terrible. The euphemism I use many times. He looks like he's been whacked in the face with a shovel. I mean, he just looks like he's aged 10 years in 60 days. So he say, well, we just got to resist. And you don't hear any cheering crowds. You don't hear that being played on any reputable or well, at least CNN has a little bit of credibility. MSNBC's in the toilet. They're getting views like 60-some thousand views during some of their programs. And you see YouTubers getting more than that. Too many for me to mention. Not me, but so they're all getting despondent and desperate. And that's when they get dangerous. So it's like, who put that up? I think it was Clandestine. put up something, said that they got 3 methods of operation. When I get to it, I'll pull it up and I'll get your opinion on my response. But let me go through some of these stories we're seeing. This guy named Sean McGuire rented a place to Hunter Biden. You know, Hunter Biden is the smartest man Joe Biden knows, and one of the most honorable men he knows, Joe Biden. He owed this guy, Sean McGuire, $300,000 in rent he didn't pay for like a year, and it was like pulling teeth getting him out. And Hunter offered to pay with some of his artwork. Now, I don't want to puke you all out, but it's the fact of life. This is what he was doing. Hunter Biden tried to pay $300,000 in rent with art he made out of his own POOP. You know how I say BOOBs? How did I spell that? But anyway, yeah. And they show a picture of it on X. This guy posted it. He said, here's a picture of one of the pages of the book of air quotes artwork Hunter tried to trade me for the $300,000. Does that pardon include that too, Joe? And it's, I won't describe it to you, but it's obnoxious, filthy, disgusting, kind of like the Biden family. So what do you all think? I'm going to switch gears to this CEO. I have postulated and I have pontificated that there were 3 main things about this guy that assassinated that CEO for United Healthcare. 1, he was a hired professional to take him out for like big pharma or some corporate entity or something like that. The second thing is that he was an ideologue who wanted to martyr himself or make a hero out of himself and make a stand, about commie healthcare. That's 2. Or 3, he's either associated with or actually is the wife's boy toy. Because, so that's the 3. But on the last one, look how many stories we've seen on YouTube, like the guy who went out to move a tire out from front of his car after he dropped his kids off, and the wife's boyfriend comes out, and she had millions of dollars anyway, but they wanted to get rid of him. And how about the one who had the husband was, I guess he was a football player, and they were in the Bahamas, and she took up with some bartender or something, and tried to do a higher job on him. You can go down the list, and a lot of times it's not the wife, it's the other spouse, the husband, for insurance money or, try to take off with his person he's fooling around with. But anyway, so those 3 scenarios. Or do you think there's another scenario? I don't think there's too many other profiles you can have. I'm just getting out of the picture that it was a robbery, which we know it wasn't that. It wasn't a emotional outburst because of an argument. No, we could see it wasn't that. Those are the 3 things. Yeah, I agree, Roland. He wasn't a pro, and it was obvious. I saw a lot of people saying, cops and investigators, when it first happened, this guy was so cool, calm, and collected. He was a pro. When you analyze for a few minutes, his handling, how he handled the weapon and stuff. He wasn't no pro. Mark said, skid mark art. Yeah, Angela, they called it consolidation, but it was really something that was on the edge of violating antitrust laws, where they all get together and take over an industry, any industry. And he voted against it. Maybe that's why it happened to him. So, he was corrupt. Pelosi sold her stock. Maybe that's it. Yeah, they put up a picture of a person. Everybody saying that's not the same guy. Different color backpack. Well, you know how you switch a color of a backpack, right? You have a backpack inside your backpack, a black one. You take the black backpack out, you dump the white one in the black one, and you wear the black backpack. You want to go back to white backpack, you know what to do. You take the black backpack off, you pull out the white one and put the black backpack in the white one. It's easy. Switcheroos are the oldest trick for when you're trying to get away. But they say he's not in New York anymore. They put out that statement. Hi, Robin. They may have lost someone close. He was young. He's young, whoever he is. Hi, Yvonne. And a lot, yeah, people turn them inside out. That's right, Debbie, to turn their coats inside out. Swap out hats, stuff one hat inside your coat and pull out another one, put it on. It's a lot of speculation, but I would not be surprised. You know, just because a big corporate, you know, like you, a big entity, okay? We've seen people mention Pig Losey, right? Maybe, you know, somebody at her level or group of high-powered people hired somebody, or a big corporation or government, foreign government hired somebody to take them out. That doesn't mean they're going to get a pro, you know. They just get, you know, they could care less if the payment trail's covered up good enough. They could care less what happens to the assassin. As a matter of fact, what happens a lot of time is you have an assassin to take out the assassin. You finished? You get it done? Yeah. Okay, good. Bang. They're gone. So they don't care if they get caught or if they drown in a river or what. They just want the objective met. That's the thing, Miss Mendersue. How would they know if he left New York City? You know, a lot of times the police will throw out something like that, and maybe he's still in New York. He reads the reports or hears about it. He goes, "Oh, good. They don't know where I'm at," and he lets his guard down. You know, misinformation to get him to let his guard down. But that one that I was talking about in Portland that shot that guy in the street, they caught him real quick. I mean, they had pictures of him, and he wasn't wearing a mask. This guy spent 10 days in New York. The Brian Koberger guy, with the situation in with the 4 college kids. They let him wander around. They had an idea it was him, and they watched him and tracked him. and they didn't grab him till they had, and they didn't put his name out there. They didn't. It was over a month, wasn't it? But he was on their radar. Yeah, Ravens. I don't think they were engraved in the ammo. I think he used a permanent marker, is what I heard, like a Sharpie. And he wrote words on there that were supposed to be about a book about how terrible the healthcare system is, but they weren't. They were close, but not the exact words. Deny, defend, depose. But what you see with this case, while people are cogitating on it, you start seeing people come out and glorify the shooter and vilify the person who got lost their life. And a lot of people say, well, I don't want to bring politics and stuff. Well, you got to, because everybody that's celebrating this is a liberal. Everybody who's saying it's awful, and if he did something wrong, we have a legal system. You don't be a coward. That's a classic coward move, is shoot somebody in the back. You remember stories from the Old West. If you did that, didn't matter how right you thought you were, you never shoot somebody in the back. It was a code, a moral code. So people can walk around and, at least feel semi-safe. So what are we witnessing here? People that have no moral code at all. The ones who are exposing themselves on X, TikTok, or where the hell ever. They're not people you ever want to associate with. Good, expose yourselves. But when I sit there and think about the third option, that his wife was involved with somebody, which I'm not accusing her. I'm saying most cases turn out to, they look automatically at the spouse, even though they were separated for a long time. How many marriages have we seen that they're just opposite of each other? Mary Madeline and James Carville, remember? We used to watch Mary Madeline on Fox News as a commentator, and she was conservative and this and that and all this. And then James Carville, he's an obnoxious socialist, immoral, little creepy liberal. How about what's his name? The one I call the Hobbit, and his wife. She used to work for Trump. Oh, I keep forgetting their names. You know which ones I'm talking about. She's blonde, and his first name I think is George. I call him the Hobbit, and he's with the Lincoln or Log Club or Republican, whatever they call themselves, and they're just a bunch of rhinos. Conway, that's right. Jess and Bean, and Roland got it. Yep. Conway. And Kellyanne Conway and George Conway. They're oil and water. Oil and water. What if his wife was on the bandwagon of, yay, I heard they almost got Trump. I hope they try a second time. What if she's one of those types? And then, gee, if he's out of the picture, because he hadn't changed his will yet, and I still got one kid underage. Let's see, the insurance policy, is that still good? Yeah, it's still good. Oh, okay. So, hey, what do you think of that? And they say, write something on the bullets to make it look like a radical, look like a ideologue. Because who sit there and write stuff on the bullet? You know? What's the first thing somebody does when they plan something like this? Make it look like an accident. Make it look like a robbery. Make it look like anything but what it is. Okay? So there's a strong possibility. I'm saying the odds are just the plain, pure betting odds, like how many kings are there in this deck of cards versus, a left in the deck card. The odds are it's more than likely that a spouse was involved. But it could go against the odds and be an actual warrior, social justice warrior, who decided to go after him. But I don't think it's a professional. So that's the strongest two are a social justice warrior or somebody put him up to it like his wife. Now, knowing his schedule, knowing where he's at, knowing right when to strike, who could you get that information from? I mean, he was estranged from his wife, but I think they lived within a mile of each other. I'm not sure. I don't know what the situation was, but they weren't on hostile terms. But neither was Nancy Brophy's husband. Did you ever hear that story? Nancy Brophy? She used to write books, thriller novels that nobody bought. And her husband was a cook. He was a chef. He had his own restaurant. And she used to sit at home and write her book, next book. And he went to open the restaurant, and she concocted this scheme where she got in the vehicle, drove down to the restaurant, went inside, dumped 3 or 4 rounds in him, jumped back in the car, came back and sat back in the bed with her writing. You to act like she was writing her book. Nancy Brophy. And the reason I brought that up, because what Nancy Brophy did was she bought 2 pew-pews where she could switch the racks out, where the barrel markings wouldn't match the gun she gave the police. Oh, the barrel markings don't match. Well, that's because she switched the barrels. And so they think they're geniuses. And, it is conniving. They're good connivers, but they're not geniuses. So this person was a good conniver, but he wasn't a genius. Like I said before, a professional is like Bob Saget. He's laying in a hotel bed. Nobody's around. Nothing's disturbed. The back of his head's caved in. And that's it. Nobody knows what the hell happened. That's a pro. No, nothing on camera, nothing. This guy's broad daylight. Witnesses, not broad daylight, but dawn. Plenty of light out. And people within arm's length. Witnesses. That's not pro. That's not pro. Hi, Gary. How you doing? So there is one picture So let me just ask, the one picture where he shows his full face, you don't believe that's the same guy? You think that's a different person? I think it's the same guy. Because you can switch backpacks. You can have a smaller backpack if he's going out for the day. He's there 10 days. He's just going to make sure his pew is safe with a few important things, papers. Doesn't want to carry the big backpack. Takes the little one out of the big one and wears the little one. Stuff like that. I think it's either that or the two people fell off the map because they can't find the one flirting at the counter to the Romeo either. So I think that is the same person who was at that hostel. And I thought to myself when it was early and everybody's looking at his nose, he has a prominent nose. And I said, I can't talk about this stuff because, you Tizzle might get mad. But if people were saying it was a professional job, a hired person, well, I'll say it in a way where people won't get mad. In gangster movies and even The Sopranos, and when they would hire somebody to come over from the old country, they would say, call up the zips, get a couple of zips down here. Do you all know what I'm talking about? If you do, put a one in the chats if you know what I mean. Or you heard what I'm talking about, where they say get some zips to come in. What they mean by zips, not if you know, but if you heard that saying, get a couple of zips down to take care of it. And I thought to myself at first, when I saw him, I said, that's a zip. And he might be a zip. He might be an unpracticed one, a novice, might be his first time. I mean, even Al Pacino had a first time with a cop. And what's his face in Godfather 1? He had a first time for everything. So I'll tell you what, it's a pejorative, zip. It's a pejorative. Kind of like, do you all know why the World War II vets used to call Japanese enemy soldiers NIPS, NIPS? I don't know if people still even know what that means, or if it would even, it's a pejorative. People say it's an insult to call somebody that name, a NIP, NIP. But that's what, I mean, don't blame me. I've talked to the soldiers from 80 years ago that actually had to fight the Japanese. But they're the ones that originated the term zip also. Theodosius is smart. Ha ha. Television shows, no. Nippon. Boy, is this a weave. Why? What is Nippon? What is Nippon? Funny how things tie together. It really is. What's Nippon? Kerry said he'll never get caught. Well, he might be floating in the river. Because, like I said, a lot of times the best way to make sure nothing gets out is you assassinate the assassin. Television show says ceramic. I've got some Nippon pieces. Tracy said Japan. 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 Chetlag said Nippon Denso as a spark plug. No. Nippon is what Angela's alluding to is what they used to sign their imports to the USA. Meant it came from Japan. That is what the Japanese people referred to their country as. Like you could say, I'm from America, and sign your pottery America and send it over to wherever. Some people would say USA with, periods in between. That's how I sign my pottery and export it. Well, when the tariffs, ain't that something? That's what Trump wants to do, tariffs. When the tariffs came around, it was written into law. You had to have the American terminology for your country on whatever you imported. So they were no longer allowed to write Nippon on the bottom of their products, including ceramics, teapots, saucers, teacups, whatever. And if you have a piece of pottery that says Nippon, it's a 100-year-old piece. Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, of which there were several versions. But I think the first one was in the 20s, 1921, I think. And so if you bought at the flea market or at the thrift shop a teapot in very good shape that said Nippon on it, you're looking at an over 100-year-old piece. And did you know, just as an aside, if you have a piece of Nippon, or even an older Japanese piece from even the 60s, 70s, if you look at it close, you'll find where the artists intentionally put a flaw in their drawing or their painting. That if it's a hand painted piece, it'll have intentional flaw, because only a deity, only the gods could make things perfect. You had to make sure your creation had a flaw in it, out of respect. So anyway, so zips. Do you know why? So now we just told everybody that's listening to the broadcast where GIs called nips. People from Japan, nips. We know the history behind that now, and a little bit about pottery. And if you want to talk about anything else in the future, I do financial stuff, affairs of the heart, whatever you want to get into. But right now, we'll stick with the situation. Zips. How did the term zip, where did that come from? What does that mean? Why did GIs use the term zip? And it carried into modern day mafia talk to import a assassin, or somebody to do a black bag job or some dirty work. Get a zip. Get a couple of zips. And I thought to myself, this guy might be a zip. And it's not my fault. They've been using that term for 80 years, and the mafia uses it to this day. Sammy the Bull said they also call them greaseballs, and it's just the way they talk. It's Italian American, in the mob is a made guy and this and that, and then somebody from the old country is a greaseball. If he's a made guy over in Italy or whatever, he's not the same. He's not the same. Goons. Anyway, so well, I'll tell you as gently as I can. Especially in southern Italy, like Sicily and places like that. And if you watch Godfather, who's the one that planted the bomb in Al Pacino's car with his first wife, Apollonia? Who was the one that did that? Who was the guy? His bodyguard. Who was his bodyguard? Because they took away. They left it on the cutting room floor when Michael Corleone got his revenge on that guy. Oh, I can't think of his name. Who was that guy? Anyway, he has the same features. His face is the same. If you look at the movie, you look at the bodyguard that actually planted the bomb in Michael Corleone's car when Apollonia said, "Come on, I teach you how to drive, come on." And he said, "No, Apollonia, no." Boom, the car blew up. Anyway, he's got the same face as this guy. And what the GIs used to say was, when you looked at them straight on, they had the shape of the nose, long nose, narrow face. It looked like a tab on a zipper, and they called them zipper heads. I'm not kidding you. So look at that zipper head. And it's got trimmed down to a zip. So the guy that planted the bomb in Michael Corleone's car could fairly be called a zipper head. And the guy in the pictures that you see, look at the movie, look at the pictures. Tell me if I'm wrong. But I know where that term came from. Fabrizio, that's right, Patrick. Thank you. And there's a scene that was edited out where Corleone was in bed and he was mourning her and said, "Find me Fabrizio, find me Fabrizio." Now, Patrick, am I right or wrong about Fabrizio's appearance compared to the guy they took his picture of in that hostel in the lobby? Doesn't he look like Fabrizio? I don't know, jet lag. You tell me. I don't know. Me no speaky. Me no speaky. So anyway, let me see what Gary said, that they'd never find him. They'd never find him. He's a young guy. He's klutzy, but I think he had a little backup. He had a little help. Maybe they say he left also 3 shell casings in Central Park on top of the shell casings he left behind. And one report, ABC, was saying he ditched his backpack in Central Park. That's just one reporter said that. I didn't hear that from the cops. Who's a charming fellow? Patrick Fabrizio? He was a nice guy, but he was a backstabber. Who was the other one? The other one made it all the way to Godfather 3, the same actor. He's the one that took out Lucchese at the end. So anyway, I guess time will tell. I can't see the New York Police Department not catching him. It's too high profile. There's so much that's out in the public about his candy bar wrappers, about his cell phone, videos of him on a bike, a water bottle at the hospital that they got with his spit on it. They say it's almost 100% chance they're going to get his DNA. And for them not to catch it, that would be an embarrassment to the department. So it might be, if it is some very moneyed interest, if it's that he's not just a live wire ideologue that operated on his own, that they'll just go ahead and let them discover him, but he won't be breathing anymore. You know what I mean? But a Wonderland Chicken Company, if anybody lives in Bend, Oregon, thinks that this person is a, quote, hero. They got a picture of him and they put hero, Wonderland Chicken Company. They posted it on X. What in the world? And they're not the only ones. I mean, it's a lot of people coming out saying that this person is a hero. So how do you not put politics into this thing? Is it political, or is it like what happens so many times, a spouse taking out a husband and trying to cover it up with a political hi, Nicey. Yeah, that's right, Gary. You have to be in the database. Koberger was not in the database, but his father or brother-in-law or father or somebody was, and that's how they traced it back to him. A family member had sent their DNA in, and they cross-referenced it. Well, how much of our stuff is private anymore? What came out with the Chinese? Because we're going to talk about TikTok. They got this bill in Congress, which the courts upheld, that said TikTok's got to get shut down if it's not alienated, sold to another entity. I guess it's approved by NSA or something like that. And the cutoff date is January 19th, the day before Mr. T takes office. What did Mr. T say? He said he was going to save TikTok. Trump was, in the past, leery of TikTok, but he made a point of saying it's not the application, it's the Huawei, the company that owned it. It's the company that owned it. And so we'll see the dynamics behind that. But what happens, which I think is a shot across the bow, China is denying they had anything to do with it. But it gets revealed that they have even our text message DMs and our telephone texts. And the State Department and all these big shots are telling us we need to get encrypted apps because our whole damn system has been compromised to the Chinese. Everything. Well, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell do they expect? The Chinese have been making our phones. They don't, don't let anybody do any manufacturing in the U.S. They've run off all the manufacturing, shipped all the jobs overseas, and they make our phones. Didn't they learn anything from the pagers in Israel and Hamas and all that? Of course, they're going to put some bells and whistles in there that they can spy on us over and everything else. If your fingerprints were never in a database, they are now. Every time you touch your phone, you're leaving an image which can be captured of your fingerprints. Somebody over in Shuanghua or wherever they're at has at least got your whichever finger you used to podge on your phone. Speaking of podging, have you all podged the like button? If you haven't, do me a favor and go on and podge that for me. Help the video get around. Jason Bourne. I don't know. He was a little rickety with that weapon he was using, having all them jams. But according to the police, he's still on the loose. I don't know if he was a bad actor, Gary. That's the thing. I don't know if he was a bad actor because he voted against the consolidation of and which would have made a lot of money for a lot of people. He wasn't CEO for very long, was he? He might have been, to limit liability or exposure. He might have been proposing some restrictions and things like that got the big money people mad. You never know. Truth is stranger than fiction. Truth is stranger than fiction. And there's still the age-old scenario of a spouse arranging for their other spouse to be knocked off, end up with everything. And they know they're hated by a bunch of people, so you pin it on the people. I don't know, Roland. I didn't watch any video of the. I saw the. He was alive when they got him. He died at the hospital some hours. He was still alive. So anyway, you got a lot of people putting themselves out there as the type to celebrate Mr. T's attempt, the attempt on Mr. T, and also celebrate this guy getting taken out. Representative Eli Crane is introducing a resolution to award Daniel Penny a Congressional Gold Medal of Honor for his heroic actions. Wouldn't that be great? Boy, that would make you think twice about helping somebody. End up going to spend 15 years of your life in jail because he was wigged out on fentanyl. They got his toxicology report back. He was all hopped up on drugs, and he was a paranoid schizophrenic for years, estranged from his family. Nobody had anything to do with him. He was homeless. He had defecated on himself before he got on the train. He was high as a 747. And now his family who wouldn't do squat with him, I guess couldn't do anything with him. It's bad enough having a paranoid schizophrenic to try to help, but if you add a terrible addiction to it, it's impossible without professional help. But now they want to sue. Now they miss him and love him and all that stuff. Nurse on TikTok says he hopes that the recently red-rummed CEO, quote, rots in hell, and says the shooter is, quote, a national hero. So he's got a picture of himself making that kind of a statement in front of millions of people. Nick Sortor put out fair warning because people are getting bold and getting violent. He said, fair warning, if leftists drive to my house and start banging on my door, they're getting maced. Well, that's not too bad. If I'm not going to give them the opportunity to take me out. Leftists have proven themselves time and time again to be incredibly violent. I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. Okay, well, I wouldn't have just said maced. But I wouldn't have said anything worse. I just said if it'd be wise not to come to my door. Well, I'll put it to you that way. Because mace, I mean, some people eat that stuff for breakfast. Missouri Republican lawmaker David Gregory filed a new bill which would establish a bounty hunter program to pay $1,000 to individuals who turn in owl eagles. So if you're in Missouri, you can make a little side cash. Yeah, Taylor Lorenz, that's another one. I got a thing about her in here too. It's buried somewhere. But she's putting it out there, celebrating this guy losing his life. He may have been doing greedy stuff that made other greedy people mad. I don't know. But like I said, in the Old West, you don't shoot people in the back. It's a cowardly way to do it. Let me see what else is here. Elon Musk putting out about how the House Judiciary is putting out something on the Biden-Harris administration. The FBI and the Treasury Department has manipulated federal laws like the Bank Secrecy Act to access your private financial data without a warrant. So today we find out that all our financial data has been raided and gone through and combed through by a bunch of kooks in the government, criminals in the government, and that even our text messages on a phone network, which Biden tried to get approval to access SMS texts without a warrant, and he was denied. Well, the Chinese didn't need a warrant. We have nothing that is private. Nothing. Dan Serino put a tweet out that said, I stand with Daniel Penny. So who wants to bet that something's going to pop up to put a stop to this crap? This is, it's not lawful. Okay, they call called it elbowing the jury, is what the defense attorneys were saying. Like, give him an elbow. Come on, come on. Convict him, convict him. With the decision they made today, they called it coercive. And it is definitely abuse of judicial discretion. Everything that's been happening in with these New York cases, these New York prosecutors, you can throw it in that same bucket. It's beyond abuse of discretion. It's deprivation of rights under the call of law. So something's going to pop up with that. And they put in the subway, the same subway car that had happened. These radicals went and got some battery-powered drills, removed the frames for advertising spots, and put a banner all the way across the top of the car in letters about 8 inches tall. A black background with bright white letters. A man once lynched here. And then they put it on the marquees inside the subway. A man was lynched here. That's what they're calling what happened with this character, saying he was lynched. Do you think Daniel Penny wanted to sit there and roll around on the damn ground with a stinking fentanyl freak lunatic? Oh boy, I get to do that. And you have no idea whether he has a weapon or a disease. I'd have brought that up if I was a defense attorneys. Yeah, so over. The time is now. Well, no, we got a month and a half before Trump goes in office. Do you think, Gary says something's going to pop off? Is something going to happen before Trump is sworn in? Do you think Biden is going to stay to the very end? Or do you think we might see them try to swear in Kamala Harris? Something happened to Joe. How many pardons can one man do? 81 million? And do they cover offenses under our parallel system, military justice, in parallel with the civilian justice system? That was the questions I was opening up the discussion about. Trump put out, Pete Hegseth is doing very well. His support is strong and deep, much more so than the fake news would have you believe. He was a great student, Princeton, Harvard educated. Did you know he returned his Harvard degree? He sent it back to Harvard and told him to stick it. I didn't know that till his mother said something, but she said she wouldn't let him turn back his Princeton educated degree. He's got a military state of mind. He will be a fantastic high-end energy Secretary of Defense. One, he put in defense twice. He said he will be a fantastic high-energy Secretary of Defense. One who leads with charisma and skill. Pete is a winner, and there is nothing that can be done to change that. That's awful close to me. There's nothing that can be done to change that. There's nothing that can stop what's coming. It's kind of close. But of all the billions they steal, the Pentagon, the Pentagon is the big kahuna. That's where it is. There's constant theft. Everywhere else, also, yes. But I mean, where you end up getting institutional uh, big shots, okay? Contractors, politicians, military brass, the abuses in the Pentagon uh, is going to be a gold mine as far as catching people like that. But even like with the disclosure that they had a scam going where they were giving TSA agents or people working at the airports, if you had a bag that you were trying to take on with you on a flight, they would say, "Oh, that's oversized. You have to uh, leave it in the luggage, put it in the belly of the plane. It can't go with you." And people are like, "Oh, I measured it. I read what that. No, it's too big." And they'd make them leave it behind or put it in with their other luggage, not be a carry-on. And they were giving these employees $10 per bag that they made people do that with. Incentive program. Do you know how much in 1 year they paid out to their employees with just that bag scam? Just the bag scam. $10 a bag. How much they screwed the people out of. And of course, you figure if you're working the terminal and you get, 300 people walk by you in a day and you make 10 of them, 10 a day, cough their bag up and pay to put it in with the regular luggage, that's $100 a day. If you work 5 days a week, that's $500 a week. And we all know there's 4 weeks in a month, right? 2,000 a month, which is 24,000, 28,000 a year. How much do you think they got Americans for in 1 year just on the bag scam? In bonuses they gave out to the bag scam. But I think they charged for the bags to go in the bottom of the plane. Might have been $15. I don't know. So they were making money on both ends, but they were paying a bounty out to the workers, $10 a bag. How much in a year do you think they got? Just the employees for the $10 scam. I don't see any guesses. They said it in Congress during hearing. They were asked and they answered. Mr. Minister says probably millions. Roland said billions. Oh, God knows what they worked them over on the pets. But it's all they do is dream up ways to screw people and pick their damn pockets. I'll tell you how much it was. $27 million in just 2022 to 2023. Divide that by $10. How many people they had to pull that crap on? They say pennies make dollars.
Boy, James Carville, I'll talk about him some other time. What a creep. Okay, there's a tweet out by Rob Blagojevich. You all remember Rob Blagojevich, right? Former Governor Rob Blagojevich. He got in trouble for Obama's Senate seat when Obama went to the presidency. He was going to fill Obama's seat. And he ended up going to jail for I don't know how many years. Been a while. He put out this tweet. This is what we'll wrap it up with. While writing my book, I remembered the day I got a visit from the prison shrink checking on me. This was the day Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell, reportedly after committing you-know-what-aside. The warden was concerned that I might be contemplating doing the same thing. I was considered a high-profile inmate, and I imagine the wardens throughout the Bureau of Prisons were on high alert. It was thoughtful of the warden to think about me, but of course, I had no intentions of doing such a thing. It wasn't necessary for him to check on me. I never contemplated doing that. But reliving the moment as I've been working on my book got me to thinking. And in all capital letters, he said, Epstein didn't kill himself. He was red-rummed, all in capital letters. I know prison. I had too much experience been there. I spent a couple of years in a cell like Epstein was found dead in. His death and the cover-up is another example of how corrupt and wicked some very powerful people in America are. Notice he didn't say the government. He said how powerful some people in America are. And I got a meme. I'm going to save it for one time when I do a picture show. It's in black and white letters on a black background. It says, a cult doesn't have 77 million people. That's called a revolution. A cult has a few thousand people with blue hair and pronouns. And Eric Adams came out about Daniel Penny. He's talking about going back to being a Republican. He used to be a Republican. He was a Republican with the Republican Party, I think, for about 5 or 6 years, and they flipped over to being a Democrat, and now they want to indict him and do all this stuff to him. And now he's supporting Trump. He came out, he said, I think we've always asked New Yorkers, you see something, say something, do something. So he's sticking up very publicly for Daniel Penny. So anyway, let me see what y'all saying in the chats. That's right. They want to make our lives miserable. They want to steal from us. And, the key to power is you get enough flunkies underneath you that don't have any morals, don't care, and are happy to get the grift and get the plunder. And they'll always vote for you, and they'll always do what they're told, because they'll never have that kind of access to power and money ever if they had to do it honestly. That's the key to power. The bureaucracy is structured that way. Yeah, Todd, I watched Michael Francis. He's used the term zips too. Where's that guy that was in here earlier? I meant to try to have a talk with him. I guess he got mad and left because I was given a accurate description of where the term zips came from. I can't help it. But anyway, yeah, Michael Francis, he'll tell you what a zip is. And he knew what was going on with Epsteinio. Oh gosh, Gary, where you going to ground? Hope you're all right, buddy. You stay safe. That's the main thing. All right, folks. Well, I'll probably be going live Sunday. If something big happens, I'll go live tomorrow, of course. Now, if you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live. And once again, if you want to give me a thumbs up, that'd be very helpful. Thank you, everybody, on the Buy Me a Coffee. I do appreciate it. I got a link in the description. So I'll see you Sunday or Monday. But if something big happens or worth talking about, I will go up tomorrow. But like I said, best way to know is to be subscribed and make sure your notification bell is hit. So anyway, thank you once again for spending your precious time with me. And I hope you all have a great weekend. And I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.